name's Maria, I'm an artist and I live in Cottingham, which is near Hull. I'm very interested in natural history and the things that found objects like feathers and seaweed and just sort of all the lovely things that you can find when you go outside. And I think I got interested in using glass when I was doing my MA, and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to see if you can make a feather out of glass? Thinking that would be quite easy, and I found that there are so many different ways of working with it and so many different possibilities that each time I made a feather, it wasn't quite right, or maybe I thought, oh, well, if I tried doing it this way, it might look a little different. So I got quite obsessed with it, worked with it. And I found it really suited me. I like that, the fact that every piece is almost like an experiment, and that suited my way of working and keeps me interested in what I do. So I really enjoyed that. I also love working with porcelain, and for this project it was an opportunity to be able to combine the two. For a long time I've wanted to see if the two materials will sit together, and this was an opportunity to just really see if things that are quite different, like porcelain and glass looks really different, but then when you think about it, they have a lot of similarities. They're both fragile, they have lovely translucent qualities, especially with glass. You can look through it, everything looks so fragile. So it's an opportunity to just try putting them together and see how it worked, really. Both porcelain and glass, they are really fragile, and nature is fragile. You know, I think now we're being told so much about it all being it's a balance, isn't it? And that the slightest thing can tip it over, and we can lose this world and all the things we've got in it. And so the porcelain and glass, both very fragile, but they're also really strong. And if you put them together, or if you use them in different ways, or like for example, the porcelain, when it's fired, it's amazingly strong. And the glass always surprises people as how strong it is. And I think that nature's like that as well. If you give it a chance, it is really strong. It will bounce back. So I like that sort of connection between the two things. I like to make lots of little pieces that on their own are quite sort of fragile, but then when you start to put them all together, they become stronger. And I think that, again, nature and the environment is like that, isn't it? You know, everything depends on something else for it to work. So I suppose that's the connection there. It was a good, probably 3, maybe 4 years with bones and birds, and I really enjoyed doing it. And then when I get to the end of it, I was thinking, I've done this, and I'm tired of looking at the same shapes now. I'm tired of doing that. What can I do that interests me, that's similar but different? And I can't remember having a conscious kind of, right, I'm going to look at shells or marine life, but I think while I was out, probably walking, seemed to be lots of beach walks in the last winter or the winter before, and I was looking, and I remember looking down at seaweed and thinking, I wonder if I could cast that in glass like I've done with the feathers. And so it's just evolved from that. I think seeing something and thinking, oh, I'd like to see if I can do that, and then coming back and trying it. And each time I make a piece, I think, well, I wonder if I can do it this way, or, you know, and then from there, because I was looking at seaweed, shells automatically, and then, oh, we need to go to the beach again, you know, and there's that inspiration. And then because it's something I start to get interested in, I see it everywhere, you know, and then I'm actively seeking it out and going to natural history museums and actually hunting for these things because I can see links between that and my work. Yeah, so I've used glass in it's called traditional or non-traditional pâte de verre, which is basically making a paste out of glass powder and firing it. But in doing this project, I've been able to experiment with not making a paste, just using powder as it is, mixing it with different types of things to get different consistencies, different thicknesses. Then I've had a go at making glass foam. I think as I've seen. So, for example, the glass foam came about because I had been looking at shells and looking at coral. And I was looking at coral, and then I'd seen some work where this man had made glass foam, Joshua Curley, and he'd made glass foam. And I looked and I thought that could make coral, really, glass coral. So then it's like, right, I'll have a go at doing that, and I test it, and then I think, well, that works, that fits with this, and it just goes on from that. So it's definitely given me an opportunity to try learning some different techniques there. And also, I mean, with the porcelain, I wanted to try and get different colours within it rather than, I love the sort of translucent quality and the whiteness of it, but I wanted to try and get some sort of different colours by adding oxides. And it is so experimental. I just do it, think, well, do I like that? Yes, but maybe it'll look different if I try this. Loads of experimenting and loads of trying new techniques and things. So this is the piece once it comes out of the kiln in this kind of really lightweight. So it's full of air bubbles, and I just did a few different pieces with different coloured glass. You fire them, you mix calcium carbonate in with it when it's fired, and you get all these, it has a reaction in the kiln and you get all these bubbles. And I thought, well, that's quite an interesting shape, that's quite an interesting thing. So I then took this is a piece of the glass foam here, and I've then sanded it down and released the bubbles. It's kind of broken, popped all the bubbles open so you can see right through it, and it's got all the hollows as you go in. And to me that was very like a piece of coral, which I liked. It certainly looks like some sort of thing that you'd get under the sea. And I'm trying to make the pieces, a piece of glass and a piece of porcelain, sit together as a thing. I really like the idea of the porcelain kind of being around the glass as if it protects it, keeps it safe. So there's a piece just here, which is white porcelain, which I've rolled out as thin as I can, make it as smooth as possible. I like the tactile quality. I love the feel of the stuff while I'm making it. So it's really smooth and burnished in places. Different oxides, copper carbonate on the side there. And then by adding vinegar, you've got like a rough texture. It's almost like barnacles. The opportunity to just show my work in one room that is a specific gallery space is fabulous. So it's kind of made me think about whether I could make bigger pieces, whether it would be better to scale things up and that might work, or whether I made multiples. So, and then thinking about where things could be, I really wanted an opportunity to be able to suspend something in the centre of a room, and this is giving me the chance to try that out. And as well as that, I really would like to attach things to a wall. And again, that's something that most galleries or most places, you can't do that. The walls of buildings are just don't touch, don't put anything here. Or you need specific hanging things. So the fact that I've got this kind of freedom to look at the space and think, well, actually, I've really wanted to try this, and this is an opportunity to give it a go and see from there. Recently I've just got a book, Ernst Haeckel. I've just been absorbed with that, and that has so many different things, and the drawings and the ideas. I love how all those drawings are laid out in like proper plates and this kind of museological scientific illustration style. So that obviously inspires me quite a lot. It inspires me with how to put my pieces together. Yeah, just reading about different people who, in, I suppose, Victorian times, where it was such a massive thing, people loved collecting. So reading about different collectors, those are the sort of things that I turn to, yeah. I love the whole idea of collecting, of finding things that we all view, we have different things that we find precious and treasure, but we've all always collected bits and pieces from outside, even as children, you pick up shells or pebbles or whatever. And I love that idea that we treasure them and we love them and want to keep them safe, and we put them in a collection. And yeah, I'm hoping that this is sort of shows the things that interest me, that I find precious and want to save and collect. You know, the whole I don't know, the precious and the fragility and the preciousness of things. Like when I make the work, it's really I have to handle it all the time. I have to handle it really carefully. It's every stage it goes through, it's kind of, I could break it, and that's in my mind all the time. And I'm thinking, well, that also relates to nature. You know, everything we do, we could just break it. And I think it makes me want to keep my collection safe. You know, I want to keep each piece safe, but I want to keep the collection safe. And I quite like this idea of that then being in a gallery, showing that I love all this and I want to keep it safe. This is important to me. I think it's probably always been there, because recently my mum's moved house and I've been helping clear everything out. And I have to say, going around the house, all the things that she's collected over her life, all the stuff, I'm like, ooh, I love that. Oh, I remember that. Can I take that? Can I have that? And so mainly her house has been moved back to my house. so yeah, I think I probably grew up with that interest in the natural world and was encouraged to just gather and collect things and keep them. So I think it's always been there. When I was a veterinary nurse, that was my job, my career. And while I was doing that, it never occurred I never thought, I really want to be an artist. You know, I wish I had time to do art. I wasn't a frustrated artist at all. And it's now that I had an opportunity to do all this, and I look back at my veterinary nursing and I think, you can see those links between it. You know, you can see the things that you've done in life and how that affects what you like to make and what art you create. There's been lots of things that I've done or have happened in my life that have maybe led to the next stage and led to the next stage. I mean, having an opportunity, because like I said, I never even thought that I would be an artist when I was a veterinary nurse. And it was only when I stopped working and I had a bit of free time, I suppose what started it, I had enough free time and I had a weekend away with my mum, and I thought, it'd be really nice, we'll do a bit of art together, we'll have a weekend and art. And I loved it. And that, from there, I came back and I thought, I'm going to join an art class. Thought, I love this, got to keep doing more of it. Which led to college, which then led to doing things like streams and just continued from there. It's a great opportunity. Everybody's been really supportive. It helps, I think, having been to streams for some time, and so I feel like I know you all, and that makes it so much easier. But yeah, it's great.